A new Star Wars show coming to Disney Plus that will center around Luke Skywalker is reportedly in early development. The show has been rumored to cover the time period from after his appearance in The Mandalorian, and it will show his training of Grogu and him establishing his Jedi Academy. And we will be getting into all the details regarding this project, but first, as always, before we get started, be sure to like the video and subscribe for more Star Wars content. Now, let's get into today's video. So, the story idea and concept for the show was brought to light by none other than Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, of course. And it has been in discussion around Lucasfilm since they wrapped filming on the Season 2 finale of The Mandalorian. They saw how successful the scene was and how much they enjoyed filming it with Luke Skywalker again, and apparently the whole cast and crew was caught up in the magic of having Luke Skywalker back in Star Wars. And so Jon and Dave decided to finally put this project into motion, and they began to brainstorm certain ideas about what a Luke Skywalker show could look like. So it's been said that the show will pick up around the time that Luke Skywalker took Grogu from Din Djarin in The Mandalorian, and again it will cover the beginnings of him starting his Jedi Academy, the same Jedi Academy that will eventually be destroyed by Kylo Ren. What is interesting about this show and the era that it takes place in is that it can include people like Mara Jade and Kyle Katarn, therefore opening a way for even more elements from the expanded universe to make their way back into canon. And we all know, as he has proven it time and time again, that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are both big fans of the expanded universe and have tried to incorporate elements from that long-forgotten galaxy into the new Disney Star Wars canon. But yeah, so the show would cover Luke Skywalker going around the galaxy looking for potential students and then bringing them back to his Jedi Academy, whether that be on Ahch-To or Tython or Coruscant or some other distant place that we haven't seen before. It has also been said that Grogu would be a big part of it. This is another reason that Jon and Dave wanted the show to happen. Apparently, Season 3 of The Mandalorian is going to have a massive time jump, and it is still unknown whether or not Baby Yoda would be making an appearance. So, in order to keep one of their most profitable and adorable characters still in the limelight, they wanted to include him in some type of Star Wars project, that way that we could still see him on the screen every now and again. Which, I mean, makes sense. Grogu's merchandise is some of the best selling in the history of Star Wars. So having a show focus on Luke Skywalker and Grogu would almost guarantee a nice profit in toy sales and other merchandise, and that's where Disney makes a lot of its money as well. I mean, you wouldn't create a character like Grogu and then just use him for 2 seasons and then forget about him. No, he's going to be back in some way, and apparently one of those ways is going to be in the Luke Skywalker TV show. Anyway, but yes, so the show would cover Grogu exploring his powers and training under the hand of Grandmaster Luke.
He is strong with the Force, but talent without training is nothing.
It has also been rumored that they flirted with the idea of aging Grogu up, at least old enough so that he could use a lightsaber. Now, I don't know how old he would have to be in order to do that, but it would be cool to see Grogu wielding a little tiny green lightsaber. Not to mention that this also opens the door for Luke and Grogu to return to The Mandalorian together, or maybe we would see Din Djarin make a cameo in the Luke Skywalker show. You know, Din Djarin kind of checking up on his kid while he's at, summer camp or something like that, right? No matter what or who they decide to put in the show, it is going to be awesome to see Luke Skywalker again, and not just for a little bit of a cameo, but for an entire show. Now, who would they cast to play a younger Luke Skywalker? Apparently, this has been a discussion within Lucasfilm as well. Obviously, the first choice is a de-aged Mark Hamill, but this Luke Skywalker is going to need to perform some physical stunts that Mark Hamill will probably not be able to do so well. So what is most likely going to happen is that they will do what they did in The Mandalorian, where they will just use Mark Hamill's voice on a different actor's body. Now, they are not wanting to go down the CGI route for an entire show, as one, it is difficult and costly to do, and two, it did not look the best in The Mandalorian. Not saying it looked bad, but you could definitely tell that that was very heavily CGI. So more likely than not, they are going to cast someone who looks very similar to a young Mark Hamill, like Sebastian Stan, who has been rumored to be playing a young Luke Skywalker since, for years now, it seems like. Or they'll use somebody else and we'll just kind of have to imagine that this is a younger Luke. Either way, I'm sure that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni will figure it out, and will give us an actor who can pull off a young Luke Skywalker. However, there is a chance that this show may not even happen at all. Apparently, the divide in Lucasfilm is also split on the issue of whether or not to greenlight Luke Skywalker's show. On one side, you have Kathleen Kennedy, who is wanting to focus more on new characters and new stories, therefore not wanting to include older characters like Luke Skywalker. This was very apparent in the sequel trilogy, as some of the original characters were not even included in episodes 7, 8, and 9. I mean, we didn't even get a single scene with Han, Leia, and Luke all together. And it's mainly because they wanted to focus on something new, which, again, I have no problem with, as long as you respect the old. And then, on the other side, you have Jon Favreau and those who want to expand the story in a way that enhances the overall story and saga of Star Wars. This divide is the only thing that is holding this show back. If it wasn't for this Lucasfilm, Civil War, or whatever you want to call it, this friction within the company, then the show would have already been greenlit and already have been announced. However, there are reports that this show is either going to make it or break it by the end of the year, depending on whether or not Kathleen Kennedy's contract does or does not get renewed. If it does get renewed, then the show will most likely not happen, and if she leaves Lucasfilm, then the show will happen. Now, another reason why people within Lucasfilm are fighting for and against this show is because of its importance within the Filoniverse. The Luke Skywalker show will be a big part in rewriting the history leading up to the sequels. We have the Mandalorian and the Ahsoka show, which is also going to lead up to the sequels, along with Rangers of the New Republic as well. However, the Luke Skywalker show, if it does happen, will apparently be the flagship show. It will be the main thing that we need to focus on leading up to episodes 7, 8, and 9, and, according to some reports, could potentially erase the sequel canon timeline and bring in the Filoniverse. Now, I've already made a ton of videos talking about the Filoniverse and everything like that, and I'll probably make another video talking about the importance of Luke Skywalker within the Filoniverse, but I'll do that later. But yeah, the Luke Skywalker show will be a big indication as to whether or not the Filoniverse will take over and become a new canon timeline within the Star Wars universe. So if it happens, the sequels could be erased, and if it doesn't happen, then the sequels will probably remain the same. Seeing Luke Skywalker in his own show would be awesome. Say what you will about anything else involving Lucasfilm or the Filoniverse, or what you think of Kathleen Kennedy or Jon Favreau or whatever, right? But Luke Skywalker is one of, if not the most popular Star Wars character, and deserves to have his story be told after Episode 6. I mean, I think like 99% of Star Wars fans love and adore Luke Skywalker, and if you don't, well, I would love to hear why you don't like Luke Skywalker, alright? The point is that he deserves his own show, and that hopefully this will happen, and that things will proceed in such a way so that the show can happen. If you know what I mean. Anyway, that is it for today's video. If you liked what you saw today, be sure to like the video and subscribe for more Star Wars content. And most important of all, remember to forever be a Star Wars fan.